Imagine this. You're sitting at home during a blackout, the world outside is pitch black, and everyone on your street is fumbling for candles or scrambling for batteries. But you? You reach for a simple glass jar sitting on your shelf, and with a twist of a wire, you light up an LED, charge your phone, or power a small radio. No grid, no gas, no noise. Sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you that inside that jar is a tiny power plant, quietly generating electricity from nothing more than dirt, water, and a few bits of scrap metal? This isn't science fiction. It's a real, overlooked technology that's been hiding in plain sight, and today I'm going to show you exactly how to build one yourself. Now, you might be thinking, if it's so simple, why haven't I heard about this before? That's the million-dollar question. The truth is, most of us have been conditioned to believe that energy has to come from massive power stations, expensive solar panels, or noisy generators. We're told that self-sufficiency is complicated, expensive, or even dangerous. But what if I told you there's a way to break free from that narrative? Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on a suppressed solution. A method so simple, so accessible that anyone can do it, no experience needed. Stick around, because I'm about to walk you through the science, the step-by-step build, and the real-world uses of your very own power plant in a jar. Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Our entire way of life depends on a constant, invisible flow of electricity. We flip a switch and expect the lights to come on, our phones to charge, our fridges to hum quietly in the background. But what happens when that flow is interrupted? Just think back to the last major storm or heat wave. Maybe it was a hurricane, a blizzard, or even a cyber attack. Suddenly, millions are left in the dark, sometimes for days or even weeks. Food spoils, communication breaks down, and people realize just how fragile our modern world really is. And it's not just natural disasters. Have you noticed your energy bills creeping higher every year? Utility companies blame everything from fuel shortages to infrastructure upgrades, but the result is always the same. You pay more for less reliability. Meanwhile, the big energy companies rake in record profits, and we're left with little choice but to accept whatever rates and service they decide to give us. It's a system built on dependence, one that leaves us vulnerable to forces completely outside our control. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be this way. Imagine the peace of mind that comes from knowing you have a backup plan, a way to generate your own electricity no matter what's happening outside. No more waiting for the power company to fix downed lines. No more worrying about price hikes or supply shortages. Just you, a few simple materials, and the ability to create power on your own terms. So, what if you could generate electricity anywhere, anytime, using stuff you already have lying around the house? What if you could take control of your own energy, starting today? That's exactly what we're about to explore. So let's dive into the science behind this tiny, game-changing power plant. So, what's the secret behind this power plant in a jar? It all comes down to a fascinating piece of science called the microbial fuel cell, or MFC for short. Now, don't let the name intimidate you. This isn't some high-tech gadget reserved for scientists in white lab coats. In fact, it's one of the simplest and most natural ways to generate electricity, and it's been quietly powering experiments in small devices in labs and remote villages around the world. Here's how it works. Deep in the soil beneath our feet, there's an entire universe of microscopic life. Bacteria, invisible to the naked eye, are constantly breaking down organic matter, dead leaves, bits of food, even waste. As they do this, they release tiny charged particles called electrons. Normally, these electrons just get absorbed back into the earth, never to be seen again. But what if we could capture them and put them to work? That's exactly what a microbial fuel cell does. Think of it as nature's battery. By placing two different types of metal, like copper and zinc, into a jar filled with soil or mud, and connecting them with wires, you create a path for those electrons to travel. The bacteria do all the hard work, munching away and releasing energy, while your simple setup channels that energy into usable electricity. It's like harnessing the power of a tiny, invisible workforce that never sleeps. What's truly wild is that this technology isn't new. Scientists have been studying microbial fuel cells for decades, and in some developing countries, they're already being used to power LED lights, charge phones, or run water sensors in places where the grid doesn't reach. Yet, for some reason, you almost never hear about this in the mainstream media. It's as if the idea of generating power from dirt is just too disruptive, or maybe too empowering for the average person to know about. But here's the best part. You don't need a science degree, a fancy lab, or expensive equipment to build your own microbial fuel cell. In fact, you probably have everything you need already. In the next section, I'll show you exactly what materials to gather, and how you can start tapping into this hidden source of energy today. Let's get down to the nuts and bolts. Literally, here's what you'll need to build your own power plant in a jar, and I bet most of it is already lying around your house or garage. First, grab a clean glass jar. Something like a mason jar or even an old pickle jar works perfectly. Next, you'll need 2 pieces of metal to act as electrodes. The classic combo is a strip of copper, like from old wiring or a penny, and a galvanized nail or piece of zinc. You'll also need a couple of alligator clip wires, which you can find in any basic electronics kit or salvage from old toys. Now, for the magic ingredient, soil. Just scoop up some dirt from your backyard, a potted plant, or even a local park. If you want to boost performance, mix in a little salt water. Just dissolve a teaspoon of table salt in a cup of water. That's it. No solar panels, no gas, no fancy gadgets. Big energy companies want you to believe that generating your own power requires a huge investment, but this setup costs next to nothing. So pause here, gather your materials, and get ready to follow along. In the next section, I'll walk you through every step of the build. Now that you've got your materials ready, let's roll up our sleeves and build this thing. You'll be amazed at how straightforward this process is. No engineering degree, no expensive tools, just a little curiosity and a willingness to try something new. Let's break it down step by step. Step 1, preparing the jar and electrodes. Start by making sure your jar is clean and dry. Any leftover food or residue can mess with the chemistry, so give it a good rinse if needed. Next, take your 2 electrodes, your copper strip and your galvanized nail or zinc piece. If you're using old wire, strip off any insulations so you have a clean metal surface. The more surface area exposed, the better the reaction, so don't be afraid to use a generous length of metal. Step 2, adding soil and water. Scoop enough soil into the jar to fill it about 3/4 full. If you want to supercharge your setup, mix in a little compost or organic matter. Bacteria love it. Now, slowly pour in your saltwater solution until the soil is damp but not flooded. You want it moist enough for the bacteria to thrive, but not so wet that it turns into soup. If you're unsure, think of the consistency of a wrung-out sponge. Step 3, placing the electrodes. Push the copper strip down into one side of the jar, making sure it's buried deep in the soil but still sticking out the top for easy access. Do the same with a galvanized nail or zinc piece on the opposite side of the jar. The key here is to keep the 2 metals from touching each other inside the jar. If they do, you'll short-circuit your cell and get no power. Leave a gap of at least an inch or 2 between them. Step 4, connecting the wires. Now, grab your alligator clip wires. Attach one clip to the exposed end of the copper strip and the other to the zinc or galvanized nail. These wires will act as your positive and negative terminals. If you have a multimeter, this is a great time to check your voltage. Just touch the probes to the ends of your wires. You should see a small but steady reading, usually between 0.3 and 0.7 volts. If you don't see anything, double check your connections and make sure your soil is moist enough. Step 5, sealing and testing. To keep your jar running smoothly, you might want to cover the top loosely with a lid or plastic wrap. This helps retain moisture and keeps out unwanted debris, but don't seal it airtight. The bacteria need a little oxygen to do their job. Now comes the fun part. Connect your wires to a low-power device like an LED or a digital clock. If the voltage is too low, try connecting several jars in series, just like stacking batteries to boost the output. Troubleshooting. Tips and common mistakes. If your setup isn't working, don't panic. Here are a few things to check. Make sure your electrodes aren't touching inside the jar. Ensure the soil is moist but not waterlogged. Try using fresh soil or adding a bit of compost to jumpstart the bacteria. If you're still not getting power, swap out your metals. Sometimes a different combination works better. Remember, this is a living system. It might take a few hours or even a day for the bacteria to get going and start producing electricity. Be patient and experiment with different soils, metals, and moisture levels. Unlike complicated solar panels or gas generators, the setup is simple, safe, and endlessly customizable. So, you followed the steps, made your connections, and now you're ready for the big moment. Will your homemade power plant actually work? In the next section, we'll put it to the test and see just how much power you can really generate from a jar of dirt. Now comes the moment you've been waiting for, the big reveal. You've assembled your jar, connected the wires, and maybe you're feeling a little skeptical. Can a handful of dirt and a couple of metal scraps really generate electricity? Let's find out together. First, grab a small LED light or a digital clock, something that runs on very low voltage. Connect the wires from your jar to the device. If you're using a multimeter, touch the probes to the ends of your wires and watch as the numbers flicker to life. You might see a reading anywhere from 0.3 to 0.7 volts, sometimes even higher if your soil is rich and your bacteria are active. It's not enough to power your whole house, but it's more than enough to light up an LED or keep a clock ticking. And there it is, the aha moment. You're witnessing electricity being generated right before your eyes, not from a battery, not from the grid, but from the living, breathing earth itself. Most people have never seen anything like this, It's a powerful reminder that energy doesn't have to come from massive, expensive infrastructure. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the most overlooked. But this raises a big question. How much power can you really get from a jar? What are the limits of this technology, and how far can you push it? Let's explore how you can scale up your setup and put this hidden power to real-world use. So, you've seen your jar light up an LED or power a clock. Now imagine what happens when you take this idea further. The beauty of microbial fuel cells is that they're modular and scalable. Want more power? Use a bigger jar, or better yet, connect several jars together in series, just like stacking batteries. Each additional cell adds a little more voltage, and before you know it, you can run multiple LEDs, charge small devices, or even power sensors for a backyard weather station. Some DIYers have taken this concept to the next level, building battery banks out of rows of jars or buckets filled with rich, organic soil. In off-grid cabins or emergency shelters, these setups can provide enough juice for essential lighting, radios, or even trickle charging a phone. In developing countries, similar systems are used to power water quality sensors or provide nighttime lighting in remote villages. No grid required, just the power of nature and a little ingenuity. Compare that to traditional power sources. Solar panels require sunlight and can be expensive to install. Generators need fuel and maintenance, and the grid is only as reliable as the nearest transformer. Microbial fuel cells, on the other hand, are flexible, low cost, and can be built almost anywhere with local materials. You're not locked into a single solution. You can adapt and expand as your needs grow. But here's the big question. If this technology is so simple and flexible, why isn't everyone using it? Let's dig into the reasons this powerful idea has stayed under the radar. So, if this technology is so simple and accessible, why isn't everyone using it? Why don't we see microbial fuel cells powering homes, schools, or even entire neighborhoods? The answer is a mix of economics, awareness, and a bit of old-fashioned inertia. For big energy companies, there's little incentive to promote a technology that anyone can build for pennies. There's no recurring bill, no expensive equipment to sell, and no way to lock you into a contract. In other words, there's not much profit in empowering people to generate their own electricity from dirt. On top of that, most people simply don't know this is possible. Microbial fuel cells are rarely mentioned in mainstream media or school science classes. They're tucked away in academic journals or used in remote villages where the grid doesn't reach. But here's the exciting part. The DIY community is changing that. Every time someone like you builds a power plant in a jar, shares a photo, or posts their results online, the word spreads a little further. It's a quiet revolution, one that's growing every day. By experimenting with this technology, you're joining a movement of energy hackers and self-sufficiency enthusiasts who refuse to accept the status quo. You're proving that real solutions don't have to be complicated or expensive. They just have to be discovered. So why not take the next step? Try it yourself, tweak the design, and share what you learn. Together, we can bring this hidden power into the light. If your jar isn't lighting up or the voltage seems low, don't get discouraged. This is all part of the DIY journey. First, check your connections. Make sure your wires are firmly attached to the electrodes and that the metals aren't touching inside the jar. If you're getting no output, try moistening the soil a bit more or swapping in fresh dirt with more organic material. Sometimes, adding a pinch of compost or a few drops of sugar water can jumpstart the bacteria and boost your results. If you notice a drop in voltage after a few days, it could be due to contamination or the soil drying out. Loosen the lid to let in a little air or gently stir the soil to keep things active. For maximum output, experiment with different metals. Copper and zinc are classic, but aluminum or graphite rods can also work. And remember, you can always connect multiple jars in series to increase the voltage. Every experiment, even the ones that don't work perfectly, brings you one step closer to true energy independence. Unlike buying another disposable battery, you're learning, adapting, and building real skills. Got questions or want to share your results? Drop a comment below or join the community. Your discoveries could help someone else unlock their own hidden power. Now it's your turn. Build your own power plant in a jar and see just how much energy you can unlock from the world around you. Share your results in the comments or tag me on social media. I want to see your setups, your successes, and even your experiments that didn't go as planned. If you found this guide eye-opening, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because we're just getting started. In upcoming videos, I'll show you how to scale up your jar, power bigger devices, and dive into even more suppressed energy hacks that the mainstream never talks about. Don't be left in the dark, literally or figuratively. The future of energy is in your hands, and it starts with a single jar. So, here's my challenge to you. What will you power with your jar?